Council President, Council Member Gloria.
Thank you, Mr. Faulkner. Just a couple of questions based upon the testimony and my colleagues' comments. The concern about the interim process, no grading permits until completion of HCP or March 2012. What happens if you have neither an HCP and you're past March 2012? What happens at that point?
The applicant would have to go through the federal permitting process in order to take authorization before the city could grant a grading permit for the project.
And that's the process that currently exists?
Yes, except the projects are enjoined currently, and so we can't work on them.
No, yeah, okay. I understand the distinction. And then one of the concerns a member of the public raised was about the ability actually to fund an HCP. I mean, I understand there's a grant process, but in terms of maintaining property, et cetera, on what order are we talking about, and what kind of money is, I know what the grant is for in the backup, but how much are we talking about needs to be raised in order to successfully implement an HCP?
We don't know that. That's part of what the HCP will determine. There'll be a detailed fiscal analysis prepared as part of that preservation plan, and it'll go work hand in hand with property owners and environmental groups and SANDAG to determine what actually is needed for the long-term maintenance and management of those lands.
Presumably millions of dollars we're talking
Presumably,
about.
Yes.
Is there any, I recognize you don't have an identified funding source yet, but is there any contemplation of what we're talking about? Or, I mean, is this developer impact fees? Is that a new revenue source, a sales tax? I mean, where might be a source of funds to pay for this?
If Bill Anderson could address that, he's been involved.
Bill Anderson, Director of CPCI. That's one of the questions of the HCP to develop, and some of the options are a community facilities district as a condition for projects that have vernal pools to enter into one, and forming one as part of a system, so it would be a discontiguous CFD to help with, and with a CFD it could go towards some of the capital side, acquisition and restoration, but also some of the operating side. Also, we are working with SANDAG, looking at some regional funding solutions for the overall MSCP.
Would that be like the Quality of Life Initiative or something like that?
I'm not sure it would be folded into that, but that's conversation. We're looking at different options too.
As you can all imagine, how difficult it is to find new revenue sources. I need to understand how real this is. Lastly, the members of the public raised concerns about the input from the environmental community, or perhaps lack thereof. What opportunities will those folks or stakeholders have as you develop the interim process going forward?
They'll be involved through all steps of the process. Part of the scope of work for SANDAG is to pull together a group and to include individuals, and we'll be involving them through every step of the process. In addition to the formal involvement in terms of reviewing the environmental document, and that they'll be involved in the preparation.
If I remember the public that were here that had concern and wanted to make sure I had input, how do they go about doing that? Do they need to contact you, or do
Yes, of course, they can contact me. That would be fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gloria. We do have a motion by Council President Waisel, second by Councilmember Leitner, to adopt the resolutions in subitem A and subitem B. Did you have further questions, Ms. Fry?